everybody, welcome back. Today we have another customization video, so let's get started. The base model this time was the Schleich Tinkermare, and this is what she looked like before I began work on her. She was obviously a little bit scuffed, so she was perfect for a custom. I never actually liked the color this mold came in, but the pose is really nice, so a custom might just make that pose shine a little bit more. So I began to prime her with white acrylic, and after sealing her, I started the pastel layer. I didn't actually like the way the pastels ended up, and I decided to go with a base acrylic layer first, then add pastel shading and highlights. So this is what I'm doing currently. I am covering the model in a base cream color, so I can then come in with the pastel shading. If you guys saw my last customization video where I completed Strider, my first ever hair by hair Appaloosa custom, you may have seen that I was complaining about not having the right gear and equipment to film every single step of the way, and this time I fixed my problem, so we actually have footage of every single time I sat down to work on this custom, and the footage is much better, so I'm happy now that we could have hopefully more videos just like this in the future. So after finishing the acrylic layer, I sprayed her in, ready for pastels, and decided I actually didn't like the shade of cream I went with, so I wasn't sure what to do, and to fix my problem I looked back genetically through horse coat colors, and if you take a chestnut and apply a double dilution gene, you're going to reach the coat color of a Cremello. So that tells me that to get a better Cremello cream, I need to have a little bit more chestnut in her, and this color was a little bit too dark and shady, so I needed a little bit more white to brighten it up. So more chestnut and more white in the pastel layer is going to fix my problem. So you can kind of see a little bit of my color theory here as I go in and mix the base batch of pastels for this custom. I'm making everything in a separate little container because I don't want to contaminate this light color with darker colors I previously have in other containers. So you can see I'm grinding up my Faber-Castell chalk pastels, and then I'm coming in and mixing some pan pastels in the same batch because I find mixing up both brands of pastels actually ends up being a really nice mix. I have no problems when I'm spraying with my Liquitex matte varnish spray and no problems doing acrylics, so this is just a method I found works best for me. I begin pastel work on the model using this large makeup brush. I find they apply the pastels super well, and if you guys saw my blog post I did a couple of years back, I actually went over and looked at different kinds of pastel brushes, and definitely my favorite were these makeup brushes. I find they apply the pastels best. I then head outside and spray her with my Liquitex matte varnish spray in between every layer of pastels I do, and I want to point out that you should be really careful when spraying. I'm wearing a mask, I'm wearing glasses because the wind sometimes blows the spray in my eyes, and proper gloves when I'm spraying, so be careful with that every time. For customs where I go in with an acrylic base first, I kind of like to one-go the pastels, meaning I go in with shading and highlights in the same time and try and minimize the amount of layers I have to do to avoid having the model become very grainy and heavy. And these pastels actually don't usually green unless I do something terribly wrong, and so I can kind of afford to go and do everything in one layer. I'm now putting in her pink muzzle and doing some pink around her eyes too. With a darker color of brown, I come in looking at many reference pictures and do her shading. So with the shading, I'm going in between muscles where the light would cast a shadow on her body. So I mixed up some light acrylic and some dark acrylics, and what I'm basically doing now is locking in the highlights and lowlights of the model. So I'm making sure that no matter where the actual light source is, those areas are going to be lightest and darkest. So I'm coming in with very soft lines, creating a herring with the light areas, and same for the darker shades. This is a tedious process that takes a lot of patience and is kind of hard to see on camera, but I tried my best to show you guys what it looks like. I really want to point out these brushes from Da Vinci. So they are the Micro Nova brush set, and they are just the smallest brushes I have ever seen. They are the best brushes for herring detail like this, and they are just incredible. For this next part, I focused on adding tiny herring details on her muzzle, and I painted in her eyes, which I made blue, and I did that all out of frame, very conveniently. Detail on the ears has also been added, and I began doing the feather. I decided this area of pastels was still too dark, so I came in with some more white acrylic details. I continued work on the feather and then began filling in the mane and tail, afterwards coming in with details in different colors of acrylics. It was then time for me to carefully sign my work and spray her with the last layers of sealant. Here is an in-between shot of work and also a little bit of my behind-the-scenes studio area. I also work with this giant thing in my head, which holds up the phone so I can film, and that's basically shoved in my face the whole time. I then come in and paint the hooves. I'm going over with the darker rim and then filling in the details. Being as careful as I can, I gloss her eyes, nostrils, and hooves. I decided to name this model Noel, and her show name being A Christmas Carol, as she was completed during Christmas time. Noel is now finished and we can enjoy her photo shoot as I took her out in the snow to have some fun. I'm so happy to announce that Noel is for sale on my website, so if you really liked her and would like to add her to your collection, you can go and check her out on my website, naturefoxes.com. I will leave some links about her in the description and also the blog if you'd like to read that. Thank you so much for coming along, watching this video, and supporting the channel, and I will see you in the next video.